John Bolton really got me thinking here, Saagar, about
funny.
Accepted coups, unaccepted coups, what the rules are, what type of corruption is acceptable, what's not, and where we all go from here.
I always said about Trump is he's a liar, but he tells fundamental truths, if that makes sense. You know, like he'll lie about specifics, but directionally he was correct about corruption, about calling out the people on the stage.
It's yeah, I mean, but then the thing is not that he said the things that were true. It's that his behavior was so undeniable, like the worst, most glaring, most obvious, boorish version of the typical behavior here. And so it's just all out there on display. You can't mask it and hide it behind this sort of like, don't ask, don't tell, Washington decorum behavior.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
you know, instead of just I'll take the campaign contribution, we'll have a wink and a nod about the post-public service, quote unquote, gig I'm gonna get. It's like, I'm literally gonna have a hotel and you're literally gonna pay me directly if you wanna get my time and get my favors.
That's his boorishness. It's just straight up. And actually, that's what I think a lot of people appreciated about him, which is why it's kind of hilarious, because he just set it out in the open. And people hiding behind norms and, you know, mealy-mouthed, like, they'll just use code language for what we all know is true. And it's like, people were just sick of that. They knew what it meant when Hillary Clinton would use euphemisms and talk in like no real person, especially on trade or many of these issues, because they could feel the real effects of it. And Trump was willing to just give voice to some of that. Now, as you said, he didn't do anything about it. But, you know, for a lot of people, that's enough. I mean, because, listen, when other people are doing the same thing and Trump seems like he's the only one who's even willing to do it. So, yeah, look, if people wanted a highbrow version of Trump, they would have voted for him. But they didn't. So it's like, I don't know why this is so difficult to comprehend.
Yeah, the garish and the boorishness,
they love it.
Just outright like in your face behavior.
Yeah.
That's part of what the deal was with him. And so, yeah, I mean, it does it's such a conundrum because obviously he didn't drain the swamp. Obviously he just like put the swamp on display and made it his and was much more brazen about it. But it is that difference of, okay, is it better when you have the politicians like pretend that they're not doing this, but they actually are, or when they're just out in the open? And if your choices are, if those are your only choices, you don't actually have an option of people who are going to really tackle corruption, really move the country in another direction, really do something different, then, you know, I can't say that he didn't come out of nowhere in the Republican Party. That's what I'm trying to say. He's not the singular evil. Getting rid of him is not going to be a cure-all for the problems. Maybe Liz Cheney will feel better if some of it's put back under wraps. Is the country going to be any better? Hard to say that that's the case.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.